Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our virtual orientation on DepEd Order number 34 series of 2022, the school calendar and activities for the school year 2022-2023. Binabati natin ng isang napakagandang umaga ang ating top management sa pangunguna ng ating tagapanimahalang pansangay ng mga paaralan, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto Seso V, kasama ng ating dalawang kawaksing tagapanimahalang pansangay, Dr. Jerry C. Bukingkito and Dr. Raymond M. Salvador. Binabati din po natin ang ating mga division chiefs. Uunahin na natin ang ating SJOD Chief, Dr. Ernesto F. Tardo, ang ating Chief ng Curriculum Implementation Division, Dr. Juliet A. Magallanes, at sa lahat ho ng ating mga kasamahan dito sa Division Office, sa lahat ng ating mga participants, magandang umaga po. Isang pagtitipon na naman po ito upang madiscuss sa lahat ng mga paaralan ang mga detalye ng nalalapit na pagbubukas ng isa na namang taong panuruan. And we are so excited because with us this morning are our two very knowledgeable personnel who will tell us the details and discuss each of this. Our EPS in SJOD, Dr. Antonio Oganub, kasama din natin dito ngayon sa studio ang ating SEPS ng HRD, Sir Ebenezer Bana Malilay Jr. Upang formal na buksan ang ating palatuntunan sa umagang ito, please stand by for the preliminaries.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiging sa silanganan, alam ng puso sa higit mo'y buhay. Upang hinirang kuyagan ng mahitig, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatak tugon sa simulan, sa langit mo pagkaw, ay hinatap tularaw, sa paglayang minamahal, ang isang lang matawag ko'y tagumpay na nag-iinit. Ang tuwing at karoon kailan pang hati-hati-hati. Lumagang araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya ng pagkay ang amin, ang pagkay dahil sa'yo.
Our Almighty God, loving Heavenly Father, at this moment we pause from our worldly worries and seek your guidance and protection. In these times of uncertainty and great challenges, we still praise you and adore you for blessings you have showered to us, the blessings of life, health, and work. We are also thankful for the opportunity to ask forgiveness of our sins. We have many sins, dear Lord. Nothing is hidden from you. Yet we ask that you forgive us and that our supplications still reach your throne of mercy and grace. At this moment, Lord, we pray that you accept our expressions of thanksgiving. We have so many things, Lord, and we are most thankful for the opportunity of serving our country through the Department of Education, Schools Division of Zamboanga del Sur. We are thankful for your protection and for sending your angels to envelop us and always keep us away from harm and danger and from the evil doings of men. We are thankful for the wise leadership of our top management, our chiefs, and the cooperation of officials and personnel in the Schools Division Office. We are thankful for the leadership of supervisors and school heads, and the commitment and support of all our teachers. With our expressions of gratitude, we ask now that you continue to guide us in our ways. Guide us as we perform our assigned tasks. Guide us as we serve the country. Guide us as we provide education to the children in this part of Mindanao. We also ask that you continue to bless our leaders with wisdom and continue to bless us with a spirit of patience and cooperation. We ask that you always bless our children and their parents and our partners in this work. Remind us always, dear Lord, that we are serving this country by providing education to our children and youth, and that we are doing this so that no one is left behind in illiteracy and ignorance, and that we are able to help parents and guardians mold a new generation of community leaders and even nation builders. We also ask, Lord, that you continue to bless us with what we need, the need of security, safety, and shelter. We know, Lord, that you alone can offer these things to your children, and you alone can offer these completely to us. For our teachers in the field, protect them always, Lord. Give them wisdom and strength as they continue the sacred mission of guiding children, thus making them good citizens of this province and of this country. At this moment again, we ask that you take away the disease that is plaguing the world now, including Zamboanga del Sur. May it be, Lord, that with your intervention, those who are afflicted with COVID-19 will be healed soon, and all of us will be free from the worries this disease brings. At this moment, dear Lord, we yield to your power, your loving kindness, and your will. All these things we ask in your name we pray. Amen.
song that make me understand this land and the sun, the guidance to the bountiful, the love I know hearts very small. We will feel the stars on the garden soul.
At this point, we are very sad to inform you of the passing of our friend from Tambulig District, the PSDS of Tambulig, Ma'am Sara Antiquina. So let us pause for 2 minutes for her honor. We pray for the comfort of the bereaved family, for the friends and relatives of the late Ma'am Sara Antiquina. And now at this point, let's have the welcome remarks coming from our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto Seso 5. Ma'am, please take your time. Again, for the welcome remarks, let's have our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto Seso 5. We apologize for the inconvenience. We are experiencing technical glitch at the moment, so we are still asking a personnel to fix this technical issue. For the meantime, please stand by for the rest of the details. We'll start right after the message of our Schools Division Superintendent. While fixing the technical issue we have with the audio of our SDS, babatiin muna natin ang ating mga friends from the field, of course, for the activity that has concluded yesterday. Nagpapasalamat tayo sa ating mga HRD coordinators, our public schools district supervisors, and PICDs for actively participating our orientation on the RPMS PPST. Kahapon po, maraming salamat. And we are looking forward for your continual support in the submission of our data for the IPCRF for school year 2021-2022. Ayan po. Okay, once again, let's
Hello,
open our
am I
schools.
now here?
Yes po, ma'am. Loud and clear po.
Sige, lipat na lang ako sa cellphone kasi hindi ma-detect sa hindi ma-detect sa yung laptop. So dito okay lang. Sounds clear?
Yes po, loud and clear po, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, good morning to everyone. I hope I am now heard by everyone in this platform. So okay na ba tayo?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, once again, good morning to all of us. Well, I am happy to note that everyone is in this platform and expecting that you are more than eager to learn and understand how we operate comes school year 2022-2023. There are a lot of activities aligned and lined up for this upcoming school year. And if noted, and if you have observed, we are now opening the school year on the month of August. And at the end of this calendar year, you will also observe that the remedial classes will be done on July to August. It is expected then that the next opening will be September. So you see the change in the conduct of every school year now, leading to the opening to September. So with this, let us understand that there are a lot of major activities to conduct and to ensure that these activities will not be compromised. So we have at least more than 10 activities, major activities to perform, unexpected to be done for this school year 2022-2023. We are provided with this simply because we have to be guided on what to do and how to program our operation in the school and in the division office. So I would like to welcome everyone to this and hoping that your presence will be very productive and that you will be able to share your concerns and other information that you would like to be addressed before the opening of the school year. Because a lot of things to consider. First, well, we are asked to do and to address the learning gaps that happened in the previous years. And with that, how can we ensure that those activities be programmed and included in the operation without compromising the major activities to be conducted within the school year. So we are mandated as well to conduct this learning recovery program. Our schools are expected to perform these activities within and incorporated in the operation of school year 2022-2023 because the summer, especially what is stated in a certain DepEd order for the conduct of enhancement of learning, will be focused on those learners that were not able to complete the requirements for the previous school year. And I hope everybody were able to address this concern and able to help our learners pass the level that they have for school year 2021-2022. I hope everybody were able to program enhancement for those learners. Hindi natin pwedeng baliwalain ha, at hindi natin pwedeng i-automatic. I hope maintindihan natin that what we are doing is for the learners, not for us, not for anybody else, but for the learners, that the return of investment will be, we are able, or we were able to achieve as well our goal, to provide the quality education that our learners deserve. So it is expected that today in this orientation, everything will be clarified, that these major activities should not be compromised, and yet at the same time, we will be able to program and within the operation our activities for the enhancement of learning of our learners, considering that there are a lot of gaps that bothers us in the previous conduct of the school year. We cannot deny the fact that we are affected by the pandemic, and we cannot also rely on the information that since we are affected, then let it go. No, it's not. We are to work and try our best to address the gaps and bridge the deficiencies that we had and the learners had, in order for them to be able to cope with the current learning that they are supposed to absorb and learn. And I am also happy to note that despite the adversities that we encountered in the previous years, we are able to bring our learners to the end, to the closing of the school year, to enable our teachers to function despite difficulties due to different concerns raised by our teachers and our school heads. We are aware that there were activities that left behind, and yet a lot of efforts were also given just to address major concerns that required attention during those years. So this time, with this school calendar, we will be more guided with the fact that, and I would like to reiterate, that these activities are not to be compromised, and yet, in the conduct of these activities, we are also to program intervention, remediation, or enhancement to address learning gaps. And with this, I am thankful to everyone, to the management of this activity for creating and timely scheduling this orientation, to give us time to address concerns that will not be raised during this convergence that might pop up in the process, because time is essential and opportunity is very important to capture in order for us to be aligned and directed to achieving our goal. So thank you also to the participants. Please be responsive and productive to achieve a more successful undertaking and able to adjust and perform with, of course, a purpose. Once again, good morning to everyone, to the two ASDs, to the management, to the host, and to the participants. Good luck to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto Seso 5 for that very warm welcome. Welcome address pa lang, we are already inspired and challenged to take this orientation very seriously. Dahil during our pre-orientation conference with our speakers, nabanggit talaga ni Sir Ton na every part of this DepEd memorandum, DepEd Order 34 is really very important. Kaya po, we are encouraging, we are requesting your full attention for this orientation. So bago po tayo magsimula sa talagang meet ng ating pagtitipon sa umagang ito, um, we are inviting everyone to stay in areas with strong internet connection para po wala kayong ma-miss na bahagi ng session ng ating dalawang magagaling at talagang pinag-aaralan ang DepEd Order 34 upang maibigay sa inyo ang kompletong detalye at masagot ang inyong mga tanong maya-maya. And of course, we would like also to appreciate if you would type all your questions in the comment section here in the Teams and pwede din po sa ating YouTube channel because we are live also with our official YouTube channel. So our PDO one, Ma'am Alili Grace Lingating will be consolidating your questions para mamaya during our open forum, masasagot natin yan isa-isa. Ayan po. Ito na. Shout out muna kay Ma'am Marian Liga ng Vincenzo Sagon Central Elementary School. Pabati po at sa lahat ng mga teachers po na nakikinig ngayon, magandang umaga. And now without further ado, please help me in welcoming our first session provider, the EPS in School Governance and Operations Division, the one and the only Dr. Antonio Ogano. Sir, please take your time.
Thank you, Sir Brian, for that warm introduction. So I would like to give the best and quality morning to all the people present in the virtual room, especially to our officials in the top management, our schools division superintendent, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto, CESO 5, and to our two assistant schools division superintendents, Dr. Mon Salvador and Dr. Jerry C. Boquinquito, Chief Ernesto F. Tardo of the SGOD, and Chief Juliet A. Magallanes of the CID, our PSDSS and PICDs, to all the school heads and teachers joining us in this virtual convergence, again accept the warmest of my morning greetings. According to the data, it is about 38,000 schools are all set for in-person classes for the opening of the school year 2022-2023. So that will be in August. This is according to one of the top officials of the Department of Education. During an interview of a certain radio station, Education Undersecretary Nepomuceno Malaluan said that based on DepEd's assessment of schools' readiness to implement health protocols for face-to-face classes, it is almost 38,000 of our schools, public and private, are ready. So there are 38,000 schools, majority or 36,000 are public schools, which is about 80% of the total 47,612 public schools in the country. So as an essential inclusions to the preparation of the opening of classes, the need to inform all DepEd personnel about the things stated in the school calendar of activities for the school year 2022-2023 is deemed important. Your awareness about this is our responsibility. That is why we are requesting everyone to stay focused as we will bring this important information to all of you for you to be guided on the steps or processes as we all perform our duties as mandated by our department. So ladies and gentlemen, we have to start now laying down the information stated on DepEd Order number 34, Series of 2022, or this is entitled The School Calendar and Activities for the School Year 2022-2023. And this particular DepEd Order is the first DepEd Order being signed by our Vice President-elect the Honorable Sara Duterte, and at the same time, our present DepEd Secretary. So this particular DepEd order has been issued in accordance with its commitment to the resumption of 5 days in-person classes despite the health crisis brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this is the very first thing now stipulated in the memorandum. Commitment to the resumption of 5 days in-person classes. It is despite the health crisis brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Moreover, it is in this particular DepEd order also that contains, no, it states that it shall consist, for this school year, it shall consist of 200 school days. Now, 203, I should say, school days, and this would start for school year 2023 that shall formally open on Monday, the 22nd of August 2022, and this will end, this shall end on July 7, 2023. The number of school days, the 203 number of school days stipulated in this DepEd order shall solely be dedicated to academics and related co-curricular activities. The conduct of extracurricular activities shall be strictly prohibited. So I hope that you will all be guided in this particular provisions of this DepEd order that this 203 number of school days shall solely be dedicated to academics and related co-curricular activities. Again, the conduct of the extracurricular activities shall be strictly prohibited. So, private schools and state or local universities and colleges may implement this school calendar provided that they will start classes not earlier than the first Monday of June and not later than the last day of August. Now, it is very clear that private schools and state local universities and colleges may implement this calendar provided that they have to start classes not earlier than the first Monday of June and not later than the last day of August. So, any deviation from the school calendar shall be reported to the respective regional offices in advance. So, very clear that any deviation from the school calendar shall be reported to the respective regional offices in advance. In addition to that, now DepEd number 34, series of 2022, shall also apply regardless of the COVID-19 alert level that will be imposed by the Interagency Task Force or the IATF for the management of emerging infectious diseases or the Department of Health in areas where schools are located. No, the contents of this memorandum or DepEd order, I should say, shall apply regardless of the COVID-19 alert level. Now, it is very clear. Then, the implementing guidelines indicated in this particular DepEd order, no, on the school year 2022-2023, or the calendar and activities are provided to ensure that the number of school days required for curriculum operations and academic-related activities are properly complied with. So it is likewise ensures that schools are given the necessary information on how to manage certain situations involving COVID-19 and other infectious diseases. So this is the very reason why we schedule this online orientation in compliance with this particular paragraph of that DepEd order, that we really have to keep all the people in the field be updated on the contents of this for guidance. So, recognizing the COVID-19 pandemic vis-a-vis the need to resume 5 days in-person classes, the DepEd intends for schools to be given ample time to slowly transition into it. On the next slides, it will be presented what is this slowly transition is all about, because we will be given options on how to gradually apply this transition into the resumption of the 5 days in-person classes. So it is also said that schools and community learning centers, or the CLCs, are urged to adhere to the school calendar to comply with the required number of school days to attain the learning standards. So I hope that it is clear. So this policy further is intended to provide the schools and CLCs with direction and guidance in the reopening of classes. So the gradual introduction, the slow transition, or the gradual introduction of 5 days in-person learning modality and the organizing of curricular and co-curricular activities or operations within the required number of school days. So, the scope of this DepEd order, the implementing guidelines on the school calendar and activities for school year 2020-2023 shall apply to public and private elementary and secondary schools that would include the community learning centers nationwide. So the private schools and the state or local universities and colleges may implement this school calendar. It is repeatedly said, no, that they really have to start classes not earlier than the first Monday of June and not later than the last day of August. So this was indicated also in the previous slide. So these policy guidelines to ensure that all public and private schools, as well as non-DepEd schools offering basic education, adhere to the number of school days required to implement the curriculum and allowed co-curricular activities throughout the school year. So it is also ensured that school days are very clear. So school days are devoted to instructionally relevant activities, no, that support learners in attaining the learning standards. So I hope that this is clear to all of us that this 203 number of school days should be devoted to instructionally relevant activities that would support learners in attaining the learning standards. Further, the guidelines are issued for schools to gradually reopen to 5 days in-person classes and slowly transition to full operational capacity during the pandemic. So this is one of the things that you need to take note because this would be applicable to all of us. So what you can see on the screen right now are the general guidelines. So I hope that you will be taking note of this. For the school year 2022-2023, it shall formally start on Monday, that will be August 22, 2022, and expectedly ends on Friday, and that will be July 7, 2023. Again, it would start on Monday, August 22, 2022, and end on Friday, July 7, 2023. Inuulit na naman, there shall be a total of 203 days or as may be determined by further issuances in case of changes in the school calendar due to unforeseen circumstances. But what is certain as of this time, that we are all given this information that the total number of school days for the school year 2022-2023 will be 203, and this 203 shall be devoted to instructional or academic activities. Ito, tandaan natin, ha? No inspections, no tools, or any additional requirements to reopen schools and to implement 5 days in-person classes shall be required, except for the compliance with the usual pre-pandemic regulatory permits and licenses as required by law or ordinances. So classes are immediately suspended during observances of regular and special national holidays as stipulated by the law. So as well as local holidays which have been duly declared by law or presidential proclamation. So this DepEd Order 34 series of 2022 shall apply regardless of the COVID-19 alert level that the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or the DOH, may impose in the areas where schools are situated. In case of ALS, or Alternative Learning Center system, the learning intervention shall formally open on the same date. That would still be August 22, 2022 for ALS. So again, no, private schools and state or local universities and colleges offering basic education have the choice to implement or to deviate from the school calendar, provided that they may start classes not earlier than the first Monday of June and not later than the last day of August, as provided for under Republic Act 11480. So any deviation from the school calendar shall be reported to the respective regional offices in advance, along with the updated school's learning continuity plan reflecting the learning delivery modalities and class programs that will be adopted, and the school's proposed school calendar for school year 2022-2023. So those are the things for the general guidelines. We will now move forward to the preparation for the school year 2022-2023. No, so in preparation for the opening of classes for school year 2022-2023, public schools shall conduct the following activities on the following respective dates. Letter A, enrollment. So the enrollment will start from July 25, 2022 until August 22, 2022. So in terms of enrollment, no, or in consideration of the things that we needed for the enrollment period, there will be, accordingly, no, there will be a separate set of guidelines on enrollment for school year 2022-2023. And we are still waiting for these guidelines to be issued by the central office. As of this date, we are still waiting for the release of these particular guidelines relating to the considerations that we have to adhere during enrollment. It is stipulated also in a note at the bottom part of the slide that up to this time, the central office did not release yet the Basic Education Enhanced Enrollment Form, or the EBEEF. No? Once this form will already be downloaded by the central office, then the schools division office through the planning and research section will share the copy of this form to the field. So this enrollment form shall be released before the enrollment schedule starts. So we are asking the patience of our people from the field just to wait the basic education enhanced enrollment form, because according to our planning officer, this particular enrollment form will be released before the enrollment schedule would start. So included in the preparations for the school year 2022-2023 will be the implementation of this annual Brigada Eskwela and Oplan Balik Eskwela. So these two activities shall focus on an information campaign, preparations, and strengthening partnership that complement in the department's effort to ensure quality basic education. So these two activities. So the Brigada Eskwela and the Oplan Balik Eskwela shall be conducted on August 1 to 26, 2022 and August 15, 2022 respectively. So I hope that you are jotting down these important dates that the Brigada Eskwela and the Oplan Balik Eskwela shall be conducted on August 1 to 26, 2022 and August 15, 2022 respectively. Public schools that were already implementing the 5 days in-person classes at the end of school year 2021-2022 shall continue to do the same at the beginning of the incoming school year. So take down note, public schools that were already implementing the 5 days in-person classes at the end of school year 2021-2022 shall continue to do the same at the beginning of the incoming school year. Included also in the preparation for school year 2022-2023, it is stated to recognize the COVID-19 pandemic vis-a-vis the need to resume to 5 days in-person classes. The DepEd intends for schools to be given ample time to slowly transition into it by implementing any of the following options. So what are these options? So letter A, first option, you have to implement 5 days of in-person classes. That is the first option. Then the second, you have to employ this blended learning modality. So what is this blended learning modality? So accordingly, you have to implement in your schools 3 days of in-person classes and 2 days of distance learning. So this distance learning are particularly modular, online, or television or radio-based instruction. And thereafter, you can also employ 4 days of in-person classes and 1 day of distance learning. It is either modular, online, or television and radio-based instruction. So again, the first option that the school can choose is A, 5 days of in-person classes, and second, blended learning modality, where it is suggested under this particular option, the 3 days of in-person classes and 2 days of distance learning, and 1 day and 4 days of in-person classes and 1 day of distance learning. We have the third, that particular option, no, for blended. It can be that by Mondays to Wednesday, 3 days, no, Mondays to Wednesdays, in-person classes, and by Thursdays to Fridays, that will be the time for the students to have this distance learning. And it can also be from Mondays to Thursdays, in-person classes, and Friday, distance learning. So the third option is full distance learning. Full distance learning, meaning to say, they are not, now the students will not engage themselves in the in-person classes because the third option is full distance learning. So these 3 options are the suggested modalities for that slow transition of the in-person classes. So it is clearly stated, there is a note in that particular DepEd order that the above mentioned, yung mga options na has been stated in the previous slide, no, the above options shall only be implemented by schools until October 31, 2022. Yung mga options na binanggit kanina hanggang October 31, 2022 only. Why? Because starting November 2, 2022, all public and private schools shall have transition to 5 days in-person classes. Kaya pala, hanggang October lang yung options, 31, kasi by November 2, all public and private schools shall have transitioned to 5 days in-person classes. So after the said date, no school, take note, no school shall be allowed to implement purely distance learning or blended learning except for those that are implementing ADMs or alternative delivery modes as provided for in DepEd Order 21, Series of 2019, or the policy guidelines on the K-12 basic education program and DepEd Order number 1, Series of 2022, entitled the Revised Policy Guidelines on Homeschooling Program. So I hope that you are jotting down these important dates as to when when will be the schools can only implement those options stated. And it is clearly stated also that starting November 2, all public and private schools shall have transitioned already to 5 days in-person classes. The time allotment for in-person class hours shall be based on DepEd Order 21, Series of 2019. So this particular DepEd order is entitled the Policy Guidelines on the K to 12 Basic Education Program, of which in Annex 1, that is intended for elementary, and for Annex 2 of this particular DepEd order is for secondary. This is related to the time allotment for in-person class hours. So kindly download the copy of this particular DepEd order for your guidance in terms of time allotment for elementary education and for secondary education. So still we are in the preparation for school year 2022-2023. It is very clear that during the first week of the school year, so during the first week of the school year, promoting, protecting, these are the activities no suggested during the first week, that schools shall employ activities that would promote, that would protect, and prioritize the learner's socio-emotional well-being. Then, schools also are encouraged to employ activities that would develop learners and even teachers' coping skills. Developing learners and teachers' coping skills. And they have to be in partnership with the DRRM service, the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Service. They will organize an online orientation and learning sessions for K-12 teachers on how to conduct psychosocial support activities for learners using the psychosocial support activity pack that the office developed with Magis Creatives. This Magis Creatives is a center, no, are the center responsible of developing this activity pack, no, that would help maintain or restore the psychosocial state of our learners and even teachers. So this Magis Creatives, it is a center for healing and learning through expressive arts. So it offers services and programs to increase the accessibility and enrich the experience of psychosocial interventions for mental well-being. So these are the things included in the preparations for the school year 2022-2023. Now let's move forward to the Basic Education Development Plan, or the BEDP of 2030. Basic Education Development Plan, or BEDP 2030. So as adopted in DepEd Order 24, Series of 2022, this puts forward 4 priority development areas. So this Basic Education Development Plan, or BEDP 2030, no, embodies these 4 priority development areas. So what are these 4 priority development areas? So the first is pivoting quality, ensuring that all learners attain learning standards in every key stage in the K-12 program. Again, the first priority development area is pivoting to quality, ensuring that all learners attain learning standards in every key stage in the K-12 program. Second, expanding access to education for groups in situations of the disadvantaged to ensure inclusive and equitable quality service delivery. Third, empowering learners to be resilient and to acquire life skills. And for the fourth priority development area is strengthening the promotion of the overall well-being of learners in a positive learning environment where learners exercise their rights and experience joy while being aware of their responsibilities as individuals and as members of society. So these are the 4 priority development areas embodied in Basic Education Development Plan or the BEDP of 2030. So still on the BEDP 2030, phase 1 of this implementation covers the post-COVID-19 recovery and transition. So this would address the remaining access gaps, focusing on quality and system-wide capacity development. So this is the phase 1 of the implementation of this BEDP 2030. So still anchored in this particular plan, the BEDP 2030, the school calendar and activities for school year 2022-2023 shall provide schools and community learning centers with the direction and guidance in organizing curricular and co-curricular operations within the required number of school days. So we will now move forward to the Learning Recovery and Continuity Plan as this was mentioned by our SDS in her message no kanina. So what is this Learning Recovery and Continuity Plan or the LRCP? So it is stated in that DepEd order that the RO or the regional offices are highly encouraged to implement a contextualized set of strategies and interventions as part of the learning recovery and continuity plan. So it shall focus on the 3 key areas. So the LRCP shall focus on the 3 key areas. What are they? So they are first learning and remediation and intervention. So this is the first key area of the LRCP. Second, the socio-emotional functioning, mental health, and well-being. And the third key area of this LRCP is professional development of teachers. Again, the 3 key areas of this LRCP are the learning remediation and intervention. Second, socio-emotional functioning, mental health and well-being. And the third key area is the professional development of teachers. So teachers shall adhere to the stipulations under DepEd Order number 8, series of 2015. So what is this DO8 series of 2015? This is the policy guidelines on classroom assessment for the K-12 basic education program. This particular DepEd Order 8 series of 2015 requires the provision of intervention through remediation or extra lessons to learners who receive a grade below 75. So to ensure that teachers perform this task, they must be spared. Oh, take note, ha? So to ensure that these teachers will seriously perform the things stipulated in the previous paragraph, it is clearly stated, and we are informed that teachers must be spared of any administrative and finance-related tasks, particularly in schools where qualified non-teaching personnel can be designated to perform such roles. So it is very clear that we will not disturb these teachers in order for them to conduct these activities, no, to remediate, no, or conduct intervention through remediation or extra lessons, especially to the learners who are receiving a grade below 75. So do not give the loads to teachers relevant to administrative and financial related tasks because they have to focus on this remediation to pupils who got the grade below 75. So now move on to the classroom-based and system assessments. Ang dami i-conduct natin, no? On the classroom-based and system assessments. First, the most essential learning competencies we are all we are already aware of these MELCs, no, shall continue to apply for school year 2022-2023. However, classroom assessment shall follow DOH Series of 2015 o yung sinabi natin kanina or the policy guidelines on the classroom assessment for the K-12 basic education program. Sa national level, at the national level, the Bureau of Education Assessment or BEA shall conduct the following assessment. So, I hope that you will be listening to this because all of us will be involved as this particular assessment shall be conducted to the children in the respective grade levels. First, ELNA, the Early Language Literacy and Numeracy Assessment or the ELNA and the National Achievement Test shall be conducted for this year. Why? Because this ELNA or the Early Language Literacy and Numeracy Assessment assesses early language literacy and numeracy in the languages and is administered to grade 4 learners. This ELNA shall be administered to grade 4 learners, while the National Achievement Test, no, the National Achievement Test shall assess the 21st century skills. What are these 21st century skills? The problem solving, information literacy, and critical thinking, no, to the areas, no, to the respective learning areas. And the National Achievement Test shall serve as an exit assessment that shall be administered to our students for grade 6 and grade 10. Now, so this National Achievement Test shall be administered to our grade 6 and grade 10 students of this particular school year. So the Early Language Literacy and Numeracy Assessment aims to assess early language literacy and numeracy in 19 languages. And again, this particular assessment shall be administered to all the grade 4 learners. While the National Achievement Test, no, assesses the 21st century skills or problem solving, the information literacy, and critical thinking through the lens of the learning areas. So the NAT is an exit assessment, no, inuulit, exit assessment administered to grade 6, grade 10, and grade 12 learners. So it is not only grade 6 and 10, but to include grade 12 learners. So the ELNA and the National Achievement Test shall cover the competencies indicated in the most essential learning competencies or the MELCs. As provided for in DepEd Order 27 Series of 2022, this particular DepEd order is entitled The Conduct of the Rapid Assessment in School Year 2021-2022 for Learning Recovery as well as in the preparation for the 2021 Baseline System Assessment. So the conduct of the above mentioned national assessments, yung ELNA at saka NAT, no, in school year 2021-2022. So I believe that you can still remember that just previous month, we were conducting this ELNA and NAT for grade 6 and 10. So this will serve, the result of that particular assessment will serve as a rapid assessment to identify learning gaps and also to design appropriate interventions as well as preparation for establishing a new system assessment baseline in 2024. So another national assessment is the NCAI, the National Career Assessment Examination. So this particular assessment that shall be conducted for this school year is aims to ascertain the learner's aptitude and interest and to provide them with relevant information on their skills abilities, and readiness for academic and non-academic courses. So we are expecting that by the coming of school year, this NCAI shall be conducted to the students. All elementary schools, all elementary schools, no exemption, shall administer the early childhood development checklist for kindergarten. When shall this be conducted to kindergarten? So as stated in that particular DepEd order, this early childhood development checklist for kindergarten shall be administered during the opening of classes, the mid-year, and end of the school year. So this shall be administered during the opening of classes, mid-year, and end of the school year. Why? Because the results of this will be used as the basis for planning and formulating appropriate interventions for children. On the other hand, the Bureau of Alternative Education shall develop a policy on assessment for ALS program that is in coordination with the Bureau of Education Assessment or BEA. No? So again, the Bureau of Alternative Education shall develop a policy on assessment for the ALS program that is definitely be in coordination with the Bureau of Education Assessment or BEA. Still in the classroom-based and system assessments, ito pa, field eerie. So I know that you are doing this in the field, no? We've been doing this for a couple of years. The GST or the field eerie group screening test. So the field eerie group screening test or the GST for Filipino administered to grade 3 to grade 6, no? And for English, this shall be administered to grade 4 to grade 6. Take note. Ang group screening test for Filipino, this shall be administered to grade 3 to grade 6. And for English, na GST, this shall be administered to grade 4 to grade 6. And this shall be conducted within the first or second month of the school year. So the GST, take note, ang Filipino, grade 3 to 6. And for English, grade 4 to 6. And this shall be conducted within the first or second month of the school year. After conducting the field eerie group screening test or the GST, there shall also be an individualized field eerie assessment. Now, after the group screening test, there shall be an administration of the individualized field eerie assessment, and this shall be conducted within a month after the group screening test is administered. So I hope that you are jotting down these very important dates and these activities that shall be conducted for this year. So the individualized field eerie shall be conducted conducted within a month after the group screening test is administered. Kailan ika-conduct ang group screening test? Conducted within the first or second month of the school year. The schedule of the administration of the post-test of this field eerie shall be announced in a separate issuance. So, separate issuance na kasi post-test na yan sa field eerie. Ang field eerie assessment tool is used to measure the reading performance of learners. So, focus yun sa reading. The results provide feedback data to classroom teachers as basis for designing and delivering appropriate reading instruction for the learners. The field eerie assessment results also serve as a guide to school heads to plan appropriate reading programs or activities to improve learning outcomes. So it is very clear that it shall be the school head who will be initiating the plan relevant to appropriate reading programs or interventions to improve learning outcomes. So the plan should be based on the result of the field area assessment. So I hope that it is clear. So for the MFAT, so alam natin na ang mga schools ay alam na nila kung paano i-conduct itong MFAT. What is this MFAT is all about? So this is the multi-factored assessment tool. So what is this tool relating to? So this multi-factored assessment tool or the MFAT shall be administered to grade 1 learners. When will this be administered? So this will be administered a month after the opening of classes. No? A month after the opening of classes, this MFAT shall be conducted or administered to all grade 1 learners. That is a month after the opening of classes, as provided for in DepEd Order 29, Series of 2018, or the policy on the implementation of MFAT. The results will be used after conducting the MFAT, and we will already be having the result. So the result will be used as the basis for instructional planning and in formulating appropriate intervention strategies for learners. Learners who exhibit development advancement or delays or show manifestations of learning disabilities. So this is the importance of the result. This is the value of conducting this MFAT, because the result of this shall be used as basis for instructional planning and formulating appropriate intervention strategies for learners who exhibit development advancement or delays or show manifestations of learning disabilities. So those are the things that we should adhere relevant to classroom-based and system assessments. Now, let's move forward to curricular and co-curricular activities. So the classes are immediately suspended. It is clear, Classes are immediately suspended during observances of regular and special national holidays, as stipulated by the law. So as well as local holidays which have been duly declared by law or through presidential proclamation. So the number of school days, inulit na naman, the number of school days in this DepEd order shall solely be dedicated to academics and related co-curricular activities. So the conduct of the extracurricular activities shall be strictly prohibited. It is very clear that the conduct of the extracurricular activities shall be strictly prohibited. So virtual activities through different social media platforms, which requires reactions or sharing, may be done for advocacy, awareness, or collaboration purposes, but shall not form part of the learner's scholastic grade. So take note that the activities conducted virtually through different social media platforms shall be that requires reactions or sharing, may be done for advocacy purposes, for awareness or collaboration purposes, but shall not form part of the learner's scholastic grade. So the curricular and co-curricular activities, my friends, that would involve the in-person gathering. So what are these activities? Activities that entails large number of participants, like in SPC, National Schools Press Conference, the National Science and Technology Fair, the National Festival of Talent, and other similar undertakings may be conducted in hybrid modality, subject to the declared alert levels of the country. So lahat na inilahad na lahat ang dapat nating gawin at dapat nating sundin just to make sure that the 203 number of school days will focus solely on academic activities. Okay, so curricular activities shall be conducted during the academic quarter to ensure that learning.
Of course, hindi din natin kakalimutan i-shoutout ang ating kaibigan mula sa Vincent Susagon Central Elementary School. Kaya nga sabi ko kanina sa comment section, no trace of aging ang napaka-young, napaka-able na school principal ng Vincent Susagon Central Elementary School, Ma'am Gingging Lambo. So I only remember Ma'am Gingging talaga, no? Ma'am firstly, Edelisa. Yun kasi yung that's the most common name na naaalala ko kay Ma'am Gingging. And sa lahat ng mga teachers ng Vincent Susagon Central Elementary School and the entire district of Vincent Susagon 1 and 2, magandang umaga ho sa inyong lahat. Standby lang po muna tayo as we are waiting for session number 2. Sa lahat din po ng mga nakikinig, kasama natin nakaantabay sa ating programa sa umagang ito mula sa iba't ibang districts ng Zamboanga del Sur Division. We hope that you are still staying until the last part of our program kasi lahat ho ng mga bahagi ng ating orientation ngayon ay napakahalaga upang mas maging epektibo ang pagsisimula at pagbubukas ng isa na namang taong panuruan. And this program is brought to us by our planning officer of the division, Ma'am Sharon Gay Cadilinia. Ayan po, nagpapasalamat din tayo sa suporta ng ating top management at lahat po ng ating mga public school district supervisors and PICDs for your continuous support for our program. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we will now be giving you our second session facilitator to complete the details of the DepEd order na pinag-uusapan natin sa umagang ito. Walang iba, our SEPS and HRD, Sir Ebenezer Bana Malilay Jr. Let's give him a big round of applause virtually.
Thank you so much, Brian, for that introduction. It seems that you are also describing me because a big round of applause. I'm also big and round. Thank you so much also for to the planning and research section for giving us this opportunity to share to you what the details are that are specified in DepEd Order 34 Series of 2022. So Sir Tony left the discussion with the curricular and co-curricular activities, and we are going to continue. I'm sure that those of you who are listening in or watching have already downloaded DepEd Order 34, no? I think this was released last week, and we are following along as the discussion is going on. So we are now going to talk about career guidance activities. So the career guidance activities are to be conducted maybe in person or in hybrid, whichever is applicable, shall be conducted between August and December. So we can do our career guidance activities from the month of August, that is on the when classes begin, until December. To tell everybody or to those who are listening in, career guidance is lodged at the ESP or Edukasyon sa Pagpakatao or at the CID, and our supervisor in charge for that is Dr. Minda Castillo. So to guide junior high school learners in making informed choices on their preferred senior high school track, as well as senior high school learners in pursuing subsequent curriculum exits or tertiary education. So career guidance activities, they are done now to help our junior high schools or junior high school learners to decide which track they are going to enroll in when they finally go to high school. And of course, to our senior high school learners, to help them decide which curriculum exit, if ever they are TVL graduates, if they are going to work, or if the senior high school graduates opt to go to higher education or to college. So college and middle level skills fairs, job fairs, business and entrepreneurship expos, and similar activities shall be conducted during the last quarter of the school year. So these activities were commonly done before the pandemic struck, and we can again conduct these activities. Now, job fairs, business expos, and other activities where we can invite industries, we can invite offices, we can even invite colleges to go to our schools to conduct these job fairs or uh, entrepreneurship expos and similar activities. We also would like to discuss on the PTA conferences and cards distribution. So parent-teacher conferences and report cards distribution shall be held not earlier than the second Saturday following the end of every quarter. So it should be done there on that specific day, or not specific day, but it should not be done earlier, not than the second Saturday following the end of every quarter. Specifically, the parent-teacher conferences are intended to apprise the parents of the progress and performance of their children and to ensure parental involvement in school activities. So we know that these conferences are done so that parents are updated with the performances and the behavior of their children in school. So we are also doing a 5-day mid-year break. Now, the 5-day mid-year break should be spent for the conduct of the mid-year performance review and evaluation and the school-based inset. So what we usually do during these days is that the first 2 days shall be spent in evaluating the school's progress in the implementation of the programs, projects, and activities, as well as reviewing the performance of teachers and the school staff to address concerns through cooperative effort. So this is also the time for the mid-year review of our RPMS or in the IPCRF. And after the 2 days, the last 3 days shall be devoted to school-based inset or in-service training for teachers to have their professional development and preparation also of their instructional materials. So the conduct of the Learning Action Cell is still here with us. So we are going to conduct the Learning Action Cell, and it shall be conducted at least once a month on an in-person learning modality. It can also be done virtually if if the LAC is done with clustered schools. So the learning action cell within a school can be done in person at least once a month, but it can also be done virtually if the learning action cell is involving several schools. So the conduct of a learning action cell that's based on DepEd Order 35 series of 2016. The learning action cell is a K-12 basic education program, school-based continuing professional development strategy for the improvement of teaching and learning, and it suggests that the following broad areas of discussion where specific topics may be deduced. So these are suggested topics, and these are broad areas no, of that the teachers or the schools may opt for discussions or during the learning action cell. So the first broad topic is that we have learner diversity and student inclusion. Next is we have content and pedagogy of the K-12 Basic Education Program, assessment and reporting in the K-12 Basic Education Program, 21st century skills and ICT integration in instruction and assessment, and curriculum contextualization, localization, and indigenization. So those are five broad areas where topics for our learning action cells may be based on. Next is General Assembly. Schools may opt to conduct in-person, online, or hybrid orientation at the beginning of the school year. So there should be a General Assembly for our stakeholders so that they will know the vision, mission, and core values of DepEd, as well as the curriculum, other ancillary services that support the learner's development, and added initiatives that may produce better learning among students. So I remember Dr. Nolin Sundo, principal of Commonwealth Central Elementary School, when we had a special meeting of our in-quest qualifiers, that these visions, these statements of DepEd should always be included in assemblies such as this, no? So that our communities will always know the vision, mission, and core values, because sometimes we forget to discuss this, we forget to share this, or to let this known to our community, and we go directly to other topics or other discussions. So we have to let them know these statements of DepEd. So public schools are required to conduct a year-end General Assembly at the start of the school year, midway through the year, and at the end of the school year to present the school report cards and consult the assembly on how to better achieve the vision, goals, and objectives of all stakeholders. So it's very important because the operation of the school will always be continue with the help of our stakeholders, especially the community. So we should always conduct general assemblies and to always seek assistance and seek guidance or seek advice from our community, so that there is always continuous improvement. Private schools, on the other hand, are encouraged to do the same. The SRC provides stakeholders with a picture of the school's current condition and performance. It is used to advocate and communicate to stakeholders the school situation, context, and performance for better learning outcomes. So the school report card, as we all know, it's like a brochure to let our community know what is going on in our schools and what are the performances of the school that is in their community. Said General Assembly shall be done in a manner that would ensure the proper observance of basic health protocols. Since we are still in alert levels, if there is a General Assembly and it would be done not to follow, not to go against health protocols, but it should follow proper observance of health protocols. The year-end deliberation of awards and clearance. Deliberation of awards and recognition may be conducted 2 weeks before the graduation or moving up ceremonies by the School Awards Committee, because these are the reasons why we should hold these meetings. Learners will receive recognition and awards, and learners who are candidates for graduation. For public schools, the accomplishment of year-end financial clearance of these learners is strictly prohibited in accordance with DepEd's no collection policy. Okay, here, the Christmas break for the school year 2022-2023 will start on December 19, 2022. That is on a Monday, and classes will resume on January 4, 2023 on a Wednesday. So that is the Christmas break for this school year. For the remedial classes for public schools shall start on July 17, 2023. That is also a Monday, and shall end on August 26, 2023 on a Saturday. So this is the schedule for remedial classes which will be conducted in our schools if there is a need to conduct remedial classes. So if you have downloaded DepEd Order 34, the enclosure 2 there is presents the school calendar of activities, presents uh, the events and holidays and other activities. So there is the legend there. The declared holidays is marked with an X. The days for inset curricular and co-curricular activities, homeschool collaboration and related activities is marked with a rectangle. And the days for administration of academic quarter examination is marked with a triangle. So this is how our calendar of activities looks like. Okay, that's how it looks like. So the guidelines on the prevention of COVID-19 and other infectious diseases. So the first there, face mask shall be mandatory in the reopening of classes. So face masks will still be worn, no, especially in the reopening of classes. It's still mandatory. So a face shield may be used in lieu of a face mask for activities requiring the entire face of an individual to be visible. So if there are activities or if there are requirements that the face or the whole face of the student or the learner or the teacher should be seen, so a face mask may be worn. Physical distancing shall be observed whenever possible, and classroom doors and windows shall be opened for ventilation. Students, teaching and non-teaching personnel are strictly prohibited from eating together while facing one another. Even though we are back to school, we are back with our friends, with our co-teachers, eating together while facing one another is still strictly prohibited. If there is a lack of space in the classroom or in the school premises to allow distancing during meals, eating shall be done in a manner where all individuals face one direction and do not talk while their masks are off. So, uh, if it is not done in a space where there are only few people inside, so the eating of meals could be done that people are not facing each other. So that is the guideline on such. Next is schools shall coordinate with the DOH for counseling on the benefits of COVID-19 vaccination of the family of an unvaccinated learner and implement mobile vaccinations for those who sign a written consent to be vaccinated. Of course, our vaccination drive is still going on. So uh, school heads no are encouraged to have to work with the DOH to have information drive again that there are benefits of having vaccine against COVID-19. Schools shall seek the support of and partner with mental health associations or psychiatry societies in their respective areas to assist in ensuring the mental wellness of students, teachers, and non-teaching personnel during the transition period. We understand that this is a transition phase now that students or learners are going back to school, going back to the classrooms, and there are adjustments to be made and there are adjustments to be experienced. So school heads should partner with mental health associations to help cope up with the stress that might come along with this transition period. Next is learners who exhibit symptoms of COVID-19 shall be immediately excused from in-person classes and shall shift to distance learning. So if there is a student or a learner who exhibits symptoms, they should be excused from classes and they should shift to distance learning. This shall only be required of those who feel well enough to answer modules or participate in online classes but are in home or facility isolation. So if the student or learner cannot do this, like answer modules or participate in online classes, then he should not be required from distance learning. I mean, from participating in these activities or in these platforms. This provision excludes learners who are admitted to hospitals to prevent learners with symptoms similar to COVID-19 from going to school. Parents are highly encouraged to monitor and report the health status of their children to the school through the class advisor and appropriate authorities. Next is schools shall have an infection control plan and containment strategy that is ready to be implemented in the event of the spread of COVID-19 or other infectious diseases within their premises. So we still have our backup plan and our support plans if ever there is an outbreak in our school campus. Schools shall not be held liable should any learner or personnel turn COVID-19 positive. There is no need for parents or guardians to sign a waiver for this item. Likewise, no parents or guardians' consent shall be required for a learner to resume 5 days in-person classes. So, no need for our schools to require parents' consent, so they can come to school without the parents' consent for the 5 day in-person classes. Now, since this is our uh, step back towards going back to school, we are going to require schools to print tarpaulins with the contents emphasizing Oplan Balik Eskwela. So Oplan Balik Eskwela is the umbrella program. Under that is the Brigada Eskwela, the Information Drive, and all the others where our parents, our guardians, and sponsors can go to our schools for information on the coming back to school. So another orientation, another information drive will be done on the on pertinent to Oplan Balik Eskwela. So the format, the template of these Oplan Balik Eskwela will be shared to you very soon, because this will also need a committee or a team to compose the Oplan Balik Eskwela or the OBE. So that ends DepEd order, the discussion on DepEd order 34. We have I'm hoping that we have no questions. Daghan. So I think that's the last slide, because we already have the thank you here. And the time now is 11:23 in the morning. So we are, let's have a short break, then we can resume and we can answer questions after 5 minutes. So let's go to the break now. And by 11:28, we will be entertaining the questions you have posted in our platforms. Thank you so much for your attention, everyone.
Ayan, once again, maraming salamat po sa SEPs ng HRD. Kasama natin ngayon dito sa studio, Sir E. Amalilay, for completing the details of DepEd Order number 34. Ayan. So eto na, let's start our open forum so that we can start answering the questions submitted by our participants from the field. Dahil alam ko marami-rami ito, and we will also be giving or providing you the answers directly from our facilitators. Let's start. Question number 1 from Ma'am Marites. Are teachers conducting enhancement classes to be given service credits, considering that the classes are conducted during the intended summer vacation? Sir M?
Okay, good morning, Ma'am Tess, also a former HR specialist. Magdaghan ka to HR, no? Redundant kayo, HR. And the one asking is also a former HR. For sure, they will be given service credits if the remedial classes are approved here by the division office. So if it is legal, if it is approved, then those teachers will be giving remedial classes will be given service credits because, as you said, it is supposed to be summer vacation.
Thank you for the answer, Sir M. You know, i-connect lang natin sa sinabi kanina ni Ma'am SDS na kailangan magpa-approve talaga ng proposals ang mga schools na magkakandak ng enhancements. Ito po from DCM National High School. Ask ko lang po regarding sa PhilIre, who will participate the group screening test? Kasi hindi po na-mention ang grade 7 to 12. Yan po. Can we ask?
Let's go back to the section where the PhilIre was mentioned and the group screening test.
Kato lang kung dimension, ang mga dimension, hindi siya.
Yes.
Review lang po muna natin sandali yung part kung saan na-mention itong PhilIre.
Classroom-based assessment. Okay, so paragraph 30 says the administration of the revised Philippine Informal Reading Inventory or the PhilIre group screening test for Filipino grade 3 to grade 6 and for English grade 4 to grade 6 shall be conducted within the first or second month of the school year, while the individualized PhilIre assessment shall be conducted within a month after the GST is administered. So what the memo or the order says, grade 3 to grade 6 for Filipino and English grade 4 to grade 6. Since there is no mention on what grade was that, Bri?
7 and 12.
7 and 12, there is we have to stick to what is written or what is said here in the DepEd order. If there are other inclusions or if there are amendments or there are changes to this, I'm sure that DepEd Central Office will issue them very soon.
All right, that's clear now. So, eto another question. How about the EGRA or early grade reading assessment? No need to conduct, sir?
Again, we are basing our discussion today, this morning, on DepEd Order 34. If there are other policies, if there are other guidelines, I'm sure again that they will be issued via a separate order or a memorandum.
All right, thank you so much, Sir M, for the clarification. And now let's have another question. May I know what DO stipulates the documents needed to prepare for the 15 days remedial classes?
DepEd Order 25, a series of 2022. That was mentioned earlier by SDS Ma'am Harani. So for the remedial classes, that is DepEd Order 25, series of 2022.
All right, so another question here for clarification only. Is IGRA and MFAT still be conducted?
MFAT will be conducted, no? Multifaceted assessment tool. I always remember that MFAT because EM is fat. So MFAT. We will be conducting MFAT.
Is not yet mentioned.
But EGRA is not mentioned in our DepEd order.
All right, thank you, Sir M. Now, another question. If we have 5-day in-person classes, this means wala na po bang alternative work arrangement, lalo na pag konti lang ang teacher sa school? So, does this mean hindi na required ang IDLAR? Instead, DTR na lang kasi naka full workforce na ang school.
Yes.
If ever we have already implemented the 5-day and you have already reported for the whole week, if the teacher has reported for the whole week for 5 days, then of course the IDLAR will no longer be required because they are already reporting on site. So the DTR will now be, besides, no, there will be no more IDLAR, but the DTR will be required for each teacher.
All right, that's a clear answer. Now let's have this one. During enrollment, sir, kailangan bang present sa school ang mga teachers?
Yes.
I'm sorry for making that face expression. Yes, of course, for enrollment.
And this one from Sir Joel. Good morning, sir. How about the situation of unvaccinated teachers who are expected to render the 5-day on classes in November 2? Ano po ang magiging sagot dyan?
We have to refer them.
There might be issuances from the IATF regarding this because this concern will not be only from DepEd. We have also from the DOH, from the LGU, and from other agencies. So there will be issuances and guidelines on this matter, and that will come out in November when full physical or on-site classes will begin.
All right. So here's one. In case po option A ang pipiliin namin, which is the 5-day face-to-face classes, do we still need to strictly follow the social distancing and limit the number of students?
Yes, we still need. We are going to follow that still, yung physical distancing.
Okay. So another one. Good morning po. Just an inquiry. Lahat na ba ng subjects ang i-cater the school year 2022-2023?
It was mentioned that the MELCs will still be used, right? During the presentation of Sir Tony, that the MELCs will still be will still be utilized, but on the exact contents of the classes, there will be another orientation on that from our curriculum and instruction strand of the central office. Since we are going back to 5-day classes, I'm sure that the curriculum and instruction strand of DepEd Central Office will give guidelines on this matter.
All right. So ito, a few remaining questions. Good morning, sir. Sa blended learning po, is still morning only face-to-face setup or may mga adjustments? Kapag daw ang ika-conduct nila is blended learning, morning lang ba ang face-to-face setup, sir?
since this is the umbrella policy, I'm sure there are other there will be other issuances regarding the class program and the curriculum that will be, I mean, the subjects that will be included in the class program, because this is a new scheme, a new no, relatively new. We will have more implementing policies on this matter also.
All right. So the last one I got here is not, I guess, not a question, but a recommendation or a suggestion. Please encourage our DepEd personnel to get their booster dose at the vaccine operations center near them.
Okay.
From an anonymous.
That was an encouragement that we get our booster doses, of the vaccine. So some of us have been already boosted, but only the first dose of the booster shots. So we are also encouraged to get a second dose of our booster shots.
Ayan po, no, we keep on encouraging our teaching related and non-teaching personnel to get their vaccines, to get vaccinated and get their booster shots para din po sa safety ng ating mga personnel, na lahat ng ating mga learners and even parents getting into our schools in the opening of classes. Patuloy din po ang ating surveillance and ang tawag dito, observations from our health personnel upang matukoy kung sino-sino pa ang unvaccinated, and we will keep on encouraging them to get vaccinated as soon as possible bago po magsimula ang panibagong school year. Alright, so we are still waiting for other questions na makikita natin sa ating screen. Ayan po. Sir, ayan ba? July 15 is the start of enrollment. If ever hindi pa available ang EBEF,
Available na. Sure.
can we still accept enrolls?
Since the date that says, I think it's the central office who set the date that July 25 is the opening or the start of enrollment. They will make it, they will, for sure, they will have the EBEF available by that time. Because they were the ones who set the date, and they will try their best, not try their best, but they will surely have this available by that time.
They should accept enrollees.
But if there is the case that there is the EBEF is not yet available at that time, of course, can accept enrollees.
Okay, so kanina napag-usapan natin yung mga personnel na unvaccinated. Ang tanong ngayon, paano po daw kung ang mga bata ay unvaccinated? Are they still allowed to attend the 5-day person classes?
Yes, they are allowed to attend the 5-day class week because it is not a requirement for them, for our learners.
Okay, ito, monetary related issue ito or question. Ano po ang gagawin? PTA collection ba ay allowed this school year?
I think the no collection policy is still imposed for the PTA. Again, that is I think the PTA is a separate entity with the school. So what the parents and the PTA has agreed on, of course, that will also be separate from the school policies.
Okay, so thank you for that clarification. Now, another concern raised. Ngayon pong marami na pong mga na-terminate na mga senior high school teachers. Since enrollment schedule is about to start and crafting of the classroom program is necessary before the start of the school year, ano po ang action ng division?
I think that is top management decision, on the replacement of our senior high school teachers who were laid off because they have maxed out the 5 years that they were supposed to pass the licensure exam for teachers. So we are going to wait on the decision of the top management, and of course that will be referred to them. I think Ma'am Maharani is signaling to talk. Ma'am SDS?
So the question is, what will happen if in the event those teachers will really be terminated? As per guidelines, directly should be terminated considering that we are not able to comply the requirements as stipulated in Republic Act 105, ano, nakalimutan ko na, 10533, wherein they are to comply the 5 years time to get that eligibility. That's the issue. And even extended another year in consideration to the effect of pandemic. So they were given a ample time, actually 6 years, and yet some were not able to participate in the recently successive conduct of LET, since there are a lot of them who signify intent to participate. We actually is waiting for the final say of the central office, considering that they have a pending request to the civil service. Pending request to the civil service to reconsider the hiring of those to be terminated. But we are also aware that in the presence of those who are qualified to teach, they should be accommodated as well. And those that are not qualified be replaced. So those are the scenarios that will be happening, and the other one is waiting for the final reply of the Civil Service Commission. Since our department now sent a request regarding those issues and concern of our specialized subjects in the senior high school level. So for the moment, we, the division office, not yet release the final termination. You're just given the notice. Notified that you will be terminated as per guidelines. That you should be informed of the possible action of the division office. Waiting for that reply, the activities will continue. And in consideration to the preparation of the master program or the class program, that would now be the responsibility of the school head, being the caretaker of the school. You cannot wait for the teachers to arrive. You are mandated to ensure that the operation of the school will be in place in the absence of the teacher, and it is the responsibility of the division office to ensure that you will be provided. But in the process, it is your responsibility that those things be in place before the start of the school year. So it is now a requirement for us to be proactive, to be innovative. How it will be done, so that in the event teachers will be deployed, they have this document in hand or at hand as reference. So hindi tayo pwedeng, dahil wala ang teacher, wala ka rin gagawin. So ano kayang magiging mukha ng eskwelahan natin kung ganyan tayo mag-isip? Diba? Sometimes there is a need for us to do extra effort, but still aligned to our KRAs. Since we are in charge of these things, then it is our responsibility to ensure these things are happening despite this shortage of whatever is lacking in our school, because we cannot wait for others to perform for our school. Talagang ganon, naghahanap tayo. Well, mag-pray tayo that the answer of the Civil Service Commission will be positive and will be helping us to ensure that everything will be fine as we open school year 2022-2023. But rest assured, the department is doing their part to address your concern. Thank you for that question, so that everyone will be able also to be guided as to what to do with the current status that we have when it comes to senior high school hiring. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ma'am SDS, for that very clear response to the question. Yung po no, na-emphasize na ni SDS na bagamat nabigyan na po na ng information ang ating mga possible, yung mga teachers natin for possible termination, pero hindi pa po ito finally na-terminate. Hinihintay pa po ang reply ng civil service sa request ng DepEd. So, ayun po. Another question, sir. Ito, dahil po magre-report na sa school for the enrollment ang mga teachers starting July 25th at ito po ay panahon pa ng bakasyon supposedly at sila ba ay mabibigyan din ng service credits for reporting to school even on the time of the vacation.
Because this is already enrollment, no, it is already part of school activities. So it is already a requirement that our teachers will be present in our schools. So this is already part of school activities. I think they will no longer be given service credits. Ma'am Maharani, I think.
Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Inurin ko lang when school activities will start, hindi ibig sabihin dahil July 22 ang klase, lahat July 22 papasok. There are a lot of preparations to conduct. Ang binigyan lang talaga ng importansya to be provided with service credits is actually the brigada. Alam natin yan. The rest of the activities, it's already a part of your responsibility as a teacher. Ibig niyo bang sabihin mag-enroll ang mga bata doon, walang tao? Ganun ba tayo? So it's something that we should think of dahil sinabing enrollment na, it follows that it is required that you will be there as well. Well, it's up to the school heads now how to arrange the programming. Alam naman natin yan, hindi tayo bago sa trabaho when it comes to enrollment. Provided there's somebody to accommodate whoever will come to school to enroll their learners because it's part of the operation for the next school year. I hope malinaw ito sa atin dahil hindi ito bago sa atin. Marami ng scheme tayong napagdaanan. We can learn from that and we can plan and program how we will do it so that everybody that has the intent to enroll will be catered. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ma'am SDS, for that very clear instructions about the enrollment. Okay. So, okay, ito pa po, no, while marami po talaga tayong questions and we will make sure na lahat po ma-address para malinaw lahat. Ito, question, ano po ang magiging arrangement ng mga kinder teacher itinerant po for the upcoming school year? Itinerant, opo.
Again, what was the I think that staff management, no, Ma'am Maharani will also give her
As required, itinerant pa rin sila dahil yun ang program ng class nila. Walang nagbago doon. Magbabago lang yan pag nagbaba ng bagong scheme ang division office. At yan kung may makatulong din sa atin because that's now relate to how we are to implement innovations, di ba? Akala yung paglagay ng isang guro sa isang eskwelahan dahil nabigyan ng mga LSAs yung ibang eskwelahan, hindi ibig sabihin DepEd yun, DepEd effort yun. Division office effort with the LGU. So sinuwerte tayo dahil naka-hire tayo. Pero per guidelines and per legal operation, talagang magkakaroon ng itinerant dahil ang requirement nila, 2 klase sa bawat araw. Hindi na magbabago yun. That's the standard. Pero kung maayos yan, dahil magkakaroon ng sagot with our innovations, kaya ito nga, di ba? We as leaders of our respective levels is actually expected to do some innovations which is not covered by any certain law. Hindi kailangan. And yet, helping the organization. Dahil kung hindi helping, ibang usapan din yan. We are asked to operate according to the standards, but we are not deprived to seek for more to address issues and concerns that cannot be addressed within the standard process. But for sure, we are deprived of doing things against and deviating from the standard law. So, malinaw po sa atin yan ha. So, what we did in charging those or some of the SLAs to the local school board is within the standard under the guidelines. But since we don't have also enough funds to do so, then some of the teachers will still remain as itinerant. Not until we are given additional teachers. So for your consideration, yung nabibigyan ng priority, yung masyadong malalayo ang kanyang distance to travel. Because we're looking into the safety as well of the teachers and in consideration to the time allotment to the learners that the teacher will be catering. So dahil hindi masyadong malayo, kaya hindi siya na-move. Dahil ang mga teachers na ilalagay ay kulang-kulang din. So, sana maintindihan natin na ganito rin tayo magpaliwanag sa mga teachers. Dahil wala tayong kapirahan. And it's good if you will be able to lobby to your municipal mayors to seek for additional charge to the municipal local school board. Ito yung magandang charging na hihingin natin sa ating municipal school board ha. Hindi yung mga travel kasi hindi yun ang priority. The priority is our learners. And hiring LSAs is one of the topmost priority when it comes to charging to local school board funds. To include repair and instructional materials. And of course, in addition to that is of course our need for health essentials. So ganun tayo mag-isip ha, ano ba talaga yung priority na i-charge natin sa local school board fund? Dahil yun ang need down the line. O ngayon, need pala ng LSA kasi may problema tayo sa mga itinerant, naaawa tayo sa mga itinerant. Actually, pag nadagdagan yung SLA natin, well, that would be a positive action. And one scheme that would address the difficulty of the school, the difficulty of the teacher, and addressing the time that the learner should have to learn and safety of the teacher as well. So pag nalabi nyo yan, ay mas maganda. And at present, yan yung pinakamagandang paraan to address these itinerant teachers na hindi pa nabibigyan ng opportunity na mag-stay sa isang school. Ang maganda kasi pag nag-stay ang isang itinerant sa isang school, you can add extra load, compensating the other load that is intended for the other class. So may mga magaganda talagang mangyayari kung madadagdagan. But for now, kung ano yung estado, yan ang mangyayari. Kung hindi siya nasali doon sa mga nabigyan ng LSA, so magiging itinerant pa rin siya. So I hope the school heads can augment this difficulty by lobbying to your school mayors and charge such LSAs to the municipal local school board fund. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Ms. Diaz, for answering that concern raised by our school head from the field. Okay, do we have our CID chief in the platform?
Actually,
Okay. Well, our colleague here will be forwarding a link to our CID chief to provide us also answers relating to curriculum. We will answer another question, and this will be answered by Sir Tony from the SJOD. Saan na ba yung question? Ayan. Dahil nga po full na yung force ng teachers na papasok sa school, are we going to use now the SARA? Sir Ton?
Pwede. Sarah Antikina. Okay, who is that? What is that question?
yung stem ng question ni Sir Anonymous is doon po kanina na dahil full force na ang teacher na papasok sa school, does it mean na SARA na ang gagamitin for their attendance?
Okay, for that particular questions, I think SARA now can be used back by all the teaching personnel in the respective school.
Okay, so that's the decision of the division na lahat ho ng mga schools sa nababalik na lahat ng mga teachers sa school, SARA na po ang gagamitin for their DTRs. Eto, I don't know if this is related. Humihingi po sila ng update kung pwede na po bang makuha ang kanilang mga signed diploma and certificates po.
Oh, I think if just kindly get in touch with the people from the record section, because I believe that other diplomas has already been signed by our SDS, and after our SDS have affixed her signature on the diploma, all of it are already endorsed for to the record section for the concerned principal to claim it in that particular section.
Alright, so eto na, lubusin na natin while our SDS is with us. May question po patungkol sa update doon sa transfer ng mga teachers bago po daw magsimula ang bagong school year para daw po sa kanilang class program kung ano daw ang status ng mga request for transfer, ma'am.
Request for transfer, well, alam natin yan ha, that is based on need. Pag sinabing based on need, hindi yan need lang ng school na nawalan ng teacher. It is the need of the entirety of the division of Zamboanga del Sur. So it refers to all schools. It might be that a school is in need, yet there are another school that are most in need. So sila pa rin yung mabibigyan. So hindi ko sasabing maglipatan lahat at may malilipat, because that will depend on the scenario that we are having in school. But there are to be considered. So, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, kung sa eskwelahan ninyo ay may mga klase na ganito, gawan ng paraan para magkaroon ng program. Hindi kailangang antayin ang teacher dahil wala pa ang teacher, wala ding program. Responsibility ng school head yan. Pwede kang magpatulong ng kahit sino dahil kailangan mo rin gumawa ng masterclass program. So, it's now a matter of programming, planning, and ensuring that in the conduct of your duties and responsibilities, talagang totoong school-based management. Dahil sasabihin ko na, we were visited by the director of the BHROD from the central office in the person of Director J-Lo Lopez. Talagang J-Lo siya ng DepEd. So, pinakita niya sa akin yung bagong mukha ng assessment tool ng school-based management. Ito yung pinaka-aantay ni EPS Gano. Assessment ng school-based management. O, di ba? Well, hindi na siya counting of documents. It's all about impact. And it's all about functionality. So, hindi na yung dahil merong meeting, okay na. Dahil merong SIP, okay na. SIP is just one of the documents. And sabihin ko na rin na talagang nilinaw niya na yung SIP ay dapat approve ng management. Isa na yan sa criteria. Dapat approve. Hindi lang ng school, kundi ng management. And then, with that approved, nasaan yung mga attached documents na may meeting with the SGC, na may agreement with the SGC. So, ganun na. Hindi lang signature ng SGC ang kailangan. So, nasaan yung agreement to achieve? Nasaan yung minutes ng pinag-usapan? Ay, ganun pala si Director Jello, no? So, wala na yung merong ka bang health corner, merong ka bang, hindi pala health corner. Health, tawag natin doon, clinic, hindi lang ganon. It's not all about structures. It's all about the functionality of your program. Is it happening? What's the accomplishment? So, hindi ko na tiningnan lahat kasi medyo mahaba-haba. And then school heads are not now boxed to whatever MOB, but we will wait for the final release of that SBM tool. Kasi iba ang mukha. Well, it's really very aligned to what the school heads have been practicing. Kaya lang, medyo mabigat-bigat ng konti. Kasi nandoon na yung functionality. Functionality. So, paano mo mapapatunayan ngayon na functional nga yung SBM mo? So, this time, mag-iisip talagang school head. Hindi na pwede yung approve yung SIP ko, mayroon akong SARO, mayroon akong ano-ano pa yung mga papel na nandyan, no? Hindi na. Functionality ang hinahanap. So, ibig sabihin nun, yung, ang tawag natin doon, yung trailing from the start of the crafting of the SIP down to the ending of the implementation of the SIP. So, ibig sabihin pa, may mga programa doon, pag sinabi mong increase yung reading ability ng mga bata, nakalagay doon sa target mo, dapat in the end, klaro doon na pag pinabasa yung bata mo, talagang marunong magbasa. Ayun. Based on your assessment na sila, proficient readers sila. O baka mamaya yung report, proficient readers, tapos nung mag-sample, hindi magbasa. So ingat-ingat tayo sa mga sinasabi natin. Dahil it's all time. O, iba na, no? O, kasi itong si Ma'am Jello rose from the ranks. Teacher to director. So dumaan din sa lahat ng stages, no? Teacher, principal, PSDS. So magandang mukha kasi alam niya kung ano ang nangyayari sa bawat level. So naisip na niya na yan ngayon. So may nagkakalabuan, mahabang diskusyon within the team ng BHRO din ng CO para lang magkaroon ng tamang hahanapin pagdating sa SBM kasi masyadong issue ang SBM, no? Nagre-report tayo, nagsi-self-assess tayo. So, yung mga assessment natin, totoo ba? So, kasama na dyan yung pag-aayos ng class program natin. Kahit walang teacher, inaayos na natin yan. Well, let's be innovative. Let's be proactive. And a part of being proactive as a school head is looking into the possibility na hindi pa darating ang teacher. So pag hindi pa darating ang teacher, pababayaan ba ang isang klase? Alam naman natin na may 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 na classes tayo. So you can do your own way of ensuring that in the event, ganun ang proactive kasi, palaging may in the event. Hindi pwede yung kailangan bago ka gagawa, nandyan lahat. Wala yan sa mukha. Kailangan maghanap ka. Dahil ang nandyan lang ay alam natin na kulang-kulang. So, lahat tayo may kakulangan, di ba? Kaya tayo tinitrain. Even we in the top management keep on having Remancom. Para saan ba ang Remancom? So that we will be directed and be reminded and at the same time be guided. Kasi may mga bagay-bagay na wala talaga sa harap namin na kailangan kami ang maghanap. At walang pinagkaiba yan sa schools. And this time, maganda dahil nagkaroon tayo ng orientation, at least you were able to air your side, and at the same time, you are given direction, guidance, but not necessarily mandating you what to do because we are all professionals and we know what we need and what should be performed in order for us to achieve smooth implementation and opening of school year 2022-2023. I hope this is clear to everyone and to all those that will provide technical assistance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma'am. Ayan po, another question here. Ano pong gagawin sa mga sa mga localities or municipalities kapag ang IATF hindi mag-a-allow sa mga unvaccinated learners sa pagpasok sa paaralan?
The same question na yan sa teachers din. Iratsada na ito nag-answer.
Okay, i-connect na lang natin doon kapag ang teachers unvaccinated and learners unvaccinated, kapag hindi sila i-allow ng IATF, ano daw po yung stand ng DepEd po?
Okay, so relevant to that question, I think we have to wait for further instructions from the concerned authorities about that. Kasi ang nakasaad sa DepEd Order number 30 for series of 2022 is slowly transition into 5 days in-person classes. So when we have to take into account the term slowly, it is not an abrupt way of implementing this. So we need to wait for further details in terms of guidelines about these pupils who are not vaccinated, if the LGU will allow them to participate in this 5-day on-site or in-person classes. So it is advised that we have to wait for details, no further details about these particular issues.
Okay, thank you, Sir Ton, for that on-point question answer. Yes.
I think Ma'am SDS has an additional inputs about this, ma'am.
To comply with the requirement per DepEd order. If the municipal mayor will not allow, then it's about time for our school heads with our PSDSs to see the mayor and present our DepEd orders for him also to understand. Dahil pag hindi niya pinayagan, kaninong kawalan yan? It's not kawalan ng DepEd, kawalan ng kanyang kabataan. And it's quite clear that the IATF and the DepEd, alam naman natin yan, constantly talk to one another. Pag naparating nyo yan sa mayor, magkakaroon yan sila ng usapan. Pero kung mag-aantay tayo, ay talagang wala. Mag-antay tayo hanggang sa kailan tayo maalala ng ibang tao. While they're doing their best, we should do also our part. So ngayon, dahil alam naman natin na talagang meron. That is for the teachers concerned. But for the learners, sabi ni Gano, 'di ba may transition options kayo. So for those na hindi pa papapasukin dahil hindi pa vaccinated, may time pa, 'di ba? Kasi November 2 will be the start of the full face-to-face. So mag-a-apply sa kanila yung hybrid na pamamaraan. Gamitin niyo ang hybrid. Pinag-usapan na yan kanina, kaya isipin nyo din yan. Huwag kalimutan. Well, anumang information na matanggap, ipasok yan sa mga bagay-bagay na pwedeng mag-a-apply. Dahil, di ba, may binigyan kayo ng up to November 2. So therefore, you have ample time to lobby to your mayor and let him understand that can be applied at the moment, but Mayor, by November 2022, this will be the scenario for DepEd. Pag hindi ka papayag, anong mangyayari sa kabataan natin? Di ba? So we have the PSDSs to do that. Kasi cover niya ang lahat ng school. And if the school heads can support and be with her or with him para makuratan ang mayor, joke lang ha, at least the mayor will understand your eagerness to pursue classes. Dahil alam naman nila, hindi tayo nagpapabaya, taga DepEd. Kung takot sila sa sakit, takot din tayo, di ba? Pareho lang naman. But we are considering the scenario as DepEd also considers what's best for both learners, teachers, and us, the Department of Education. So sa ngayon, gamitin natin ang hybrid. Di ba may pagpipilian kayo? Ang dami kaya noon. So sino yung mga bata papasukin? O di, mag-hybrid sila. O yun. So yan, lalabas na naman ang pagiging innovative ng school head based on available standards to choose from. O, di ba? So tingnan natin kung sino yung magandang model. Actually kasi gusto kong magkaroon talaga ng mga magandang model ng proposal for using those hybrid for the moment till November 2. So tingnan natin kung sino yung makaisip ng alin sa hybrid na ito ang nag-a-apply sa kanya. Dahil maganda din pag-aralan yan. Kung ano yung magiging resulta dun sa bata na on-site at dun sa bata na ina-applyan mo ng hybrid na pamamaraan. So, well, nasa atin lang talaga din yan. Dahil yung mga mayor, wala tayong magawa. Kapag nag-decide yan, nagde-decide yan. Pero, on our end, we will do our part. O, sige, kausapin natin si mayor about this. Ito yung mga existing guidelines, existing schedules na mangyayari sa DepEd. Mayor, I hope you will consider this one with your policy. Dahil kung i-insist mo na hindi mo papapasukin ng mga bata, Wala kaming magawa dahil hindi namin anak yan. Anak mo yan dahil nasa komunidad mo yan. Well, kung papayagan mong walang maalaman yan, it's up to you. Kanino ba babalik yan? And if papayagan mo na papasok yan, ano ba ang pwede mong gawin, Mayor, para yung kinakatakutan mo na may hawaan ay maiwasan? O bigyan mo lang kami ng mga health essentials para sigurado na kahit unvaccinated yan, safe pa rin ang mga kabataan. O yan, lahat. Alcohol na, kung ano-ano pa. Yan, pwede tayong pumasok dyan. At saka, school heads, it's your responsibility as well to ensure na yung health protocols na-adhere. Kasi yun lang naman talaga ang mga hinahanap. But, paalala, nire-respeto pa rin natin ang issuances ng mga mayor natin. Kailangan lang talaga mag-usap para maintindihan nila. Para walang sisihan in the end. O, malinaw ba? So, huwag nating gawing sakit sa ulo. Kung mag-insist ang mayor na ayaw niyang papasukin, managot siya sa magulang. As long as tayo nandoon. Nandoon tayo nagantay sa mga bata. At mayroon tayong legal basis bakit nangawala ang bata natin. O di sila ang managot. O kung may penalty ba yan, edi ipinalize nila, tingnan natin kung sino ang magalit sa kanila. Hindi tayo magagalit dahil DepEd tayo. We are neutral. At alam natin, ang mga magulang ang magkakaroon ng malaking problema pag ginawa talaga ng mga mayors yan. Kaya iparating nyo sa mayor at iparating sa magulang para mapag-usapan nila kasama ang DepEd. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you Ma'am SDS. Ito, i-connect na lang natin no kasi napag-usapan na ang mga mayors. Ano po daw Ma'am ang gagawin? Gayong nagsisimula na naman ang mga araw-araw celebrations, umaabot na ng 3 weeks daw pong gagamitin ang mga bata sa mga practice for festival dance. Nahihirapan ho ang ating mga schools na magbalibad sa LGU. Ano daw po yung magiging stand natin sa DepEd?
That's a very, very good question, actually. Excellent for asking that one. Show them the DepEd Order 25 that we are mandated not to compromise school days because we are addressing learning gaps. Alam nila yan. So, pwede silang mag-conduct and pwedeng gamitin ng bata Sabado at Linggo. But school days, mandato natin yan. Ang sagot dyan, ang DepEd Order 25, 2022. Huwag na tayong magpapogi ha, kasi hindi na time for papogi. Ang gamitin natin yung PR natin sa mayor natin. Paano ba natin ipaliwanag na mayor, marami ang nawala? Marami ang nasakripisyo. Lalong-lalo na ang quality of education. Sinusupport nyo kami para magbigay ng quality of education. Pag ipagpapatuloy natin itong mga celebration na ito at hinihila-hila natin ang guro at mga teachers, ano ba ang mangyayari? Di walang pinagkaiba sa pandemic. Di ba? Nawala ang mga bata sa schools. Your protection is DepEd Order 25 Series 2022. I hope matuto tayong magpaliwanag at magsabi. Dahil kung gagawin nyo yan, mananagot kayo sa central office or else mag-i-extend kayo ng klase. Yan lang talaga ang pwede. Dahil sinabi na, it cannot be sacrificed. It cannot be compromised. In the event, may deviation, ang inalaw lang private schools, hindi tayo. Di ba sinabi na may scheduling na? So malinaw ang sagot. Sa ngayon, iiwasan yan. Dahil may mandato tayo under DepEd Order 25 Series 2025. 22 pala. Anong nangyari? Dumating na ako sa 2025. So, magpaliwanag na lang po kayo mga school heads. Dahil nasa DepEd tayo, so yung mandato natin dapat ang mauna, ipaliwanag na accordingly and legally, mananagot kayo kapag may nagsumbong na wala yung mga bata sa school and compromising the number of classes per DepEd order. DepEd order yan ha, hindi yan DepEd memorandum. Intindihin natin na pag DepEd order, may administrative impact yan. Pwede kayong managot kapag hindi nyo nasagot dahil hindi sagot ang mayor. Dahil ang mayor ay wala sa DepEd. Ang sagot, ang DepEd order. Kaya ipaliwanag natin sa mayor yan. So, dahil natanong yan, thank you very much kung sino man yung nagtanong. It's about time for all of you to inform the mayor of the current DepEd order para alam na niya kung magre-request pa ba siya o hindi. Dahil kung magre-request siya, tandaan natin ha, walang klaseng masakripisyo. Therefore, ano bang mangyayari kapag nagsakripisyo kayo ng klase? Tatamaan kayo ng administrative case kung gagawin niyo yan. So let's think about it. Dahil ang alam ko, ang mga mayor, hindi nila isasakripisyo ang mga kabataan nila kung naipaliwanag ninyo ng maayos habang maaga pa. Para sila naman ay magkaroon ng guidance kung kailan sila hihiram ng mga bata at saka ng mga teachers at kung kailan pwede. Kasi nag-a-adjust din yan sila. They're supporting us because they want quality education. Ang paghiram nila dahil may pangangailangan sila sa kanilang presentasyon. Kaya lang, maiinis sila kapag hindi nila alam in advance na may ganito palang guidelines. Kaya ipaalam na in advance para magkaroon na kayo ng magandang usapan. So thank you very much for asking. That would help us, especially with our relationship with the local government units. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Sir Ton?
Okay na.
Ayan po, may isa na namang tanong dito patungkol sa full implementation ng 5-day in-person classes. Paano po kapag hindi magkakasya sa classroom ang number of students? Kasi po ang allowed lamang is 20 per class. Ano po ang gagawin? Gayong may physical distancing pa din pong ipinatutupad sa loob ng classroom. Ma'am?
Ako ba ang sasagot or si Ganom?
Gusto ang galing talaga ako sa inyo, ma'am.
Gusto kong ipaalala sa inyo. Alam nyo ang school ninyo, nung nagka-pandemic, alam nyo rin kung ano yung mga scheme na ginagawa natin kung 20 lang ang bata na allowed. So it's all about programming. Programming yan. Hindi pwedeng ako ang mag-program ng mga classes ninyo para ma-address yung 20 per class dahil 20 lang ang kakasya. So programming and adjustment. Well, it's good na naitanong nyo yan para malaman din ng iba kung ano ang iisipin nila. So, i-program nyo na yan. Gawan nyo ng paraan dahil wala rin tayong sagot dyan kung ako ang tatanungin ninyo. Kasi hindi ako nagpapatakbo ng school. Mas alam nyo kung paano ayusin yan. Dahil meron kayong paraan at alam nyo rin dahil dinaanan nyo ang pandemic. So gano'n ang sagot ha. May mga bagay-bagay na hindi kami ang hahanap ng paraan. Kayo ang maghanap dahil binigay na sa inyo yung eskema at saka yung sistema. So it's about time. Ano yung magiging input ninyo with that issue? Thank you very much.
Okay, next question.
Ayan, so ito parang may isang technical question ito, no? Policy based siguro ito. Naka-state po sa memo na ang mga teachers ay dapat ma-spare from being part of the finance-related task katulad ng pagiging member ng BAC at saka TWG. Ano po ang gagawin? Ngayong ang mga maliliit na school ay kailangan gumamit ng mga teachers to complete these committees.
Relevant to that question, that is a query from the field. Ang sinasabi doon sa memorandum na spare from other financial related activities, I think that would relate to some of the school heads who are passing through the responsibilities of liquidation of cash advances. I think that is the thing that is being referred to the DepEd order na i-relieve yung mga teachers ng responsibilities relevant to the liquidation of cash advances ng school head, that should not be given to the teachers para ma-spare yung mga teachers in terms of that particular responsibilities at ma-focus yung attention nila relating to the responsibilities on the enrichment of classes during this period para ma-focus ang work ng teachers doon.
Okay, nililinaw lamang po natin na hindi ibig sabihin na spare sila from finance-related task hindi na sila magiging member ng BAC kasi kailangan din talaga. But they are not to do any activities relating po doon sa pagle-liquidate kasi po makukunan yung time nila sa pagtuturo.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. So I guess we are now down to the last question. How about my private schools? Could we collect our parents regarding fees? Thank you. From Hiron's College, sir.
Hiron's College,
Apa.
private school.
Hmm?
Private school.
Can we?
Can we
they-
collect any fees from our parents po?
Yes.
Ma'am SDS
Private
will
schools
have
ang sila.
an answer for this.
Hello. Fees ang pinag-uusapan, not specified as to what kind of fees. What I know, the private schools, when they do operation, they always submit their tuition fees and other related fees for approval. As long as it is being approved, then it will form part of the process. So ang tanong, anong fees ba ang i-collect? Wala ba sa approved na proposal under your operation? Kasi lahat talaga tayo hindi pwedeng mag-collect nang hindi dumadaan sa process. So in the collection of tuition fees and other matters, ang alam ko kasama yan sa proposal when you ask for approval of your operation. Yung mga tuition fees, so yun yung covered ng collection ninyo. Dahil officially recognized and approved. But for other fees, anong klaseng fees yan na tinatanong? PTA or other fees for the operation? It's a private school. Meron naman kayong tumatakbong guidelines din na tinitingnan. So ano yung allowed sa inyo? Kung ano yung allowed under the approved permit to operate, yun lang talaga yung legal na ikokolekta. Pero if you will also ask us about PTA, then it's up to the PTA because the PTA is an organized body recognized by your school and of course given recognition to operate. Therefore, it's not the school, it's the PTA. Basta ang pagkakaalam ko when it comes to collection, kahit private school yan, meron pa rin yang document as to what are those be allowed to collect under your proposed scheme. At yan ang ina-approve ng body para mag-increase ba kayo or yung mga tinatawag nating kung ano-anong mga fees. Dahil in the end, pag may nagreklamo, sasagutin niyo pa rin yan. Is it legal? Is it allowed? Or it's just an internal agreement? So maraming pa yung tinatanong kung allowed ba kayo mag-collect o hindi. Generally, pag hindi agreed, talagang hindi pwedeng mag-collect.
Alright, thank you so much Ma'am SDS for all the answers kasi alam niyo na lahat ng mga sagot na manggagaling talaga sa top management bears the authority sa lahat ho ng ating mga implementers sa field. Ayan po, at the moment parang wala na po tayong mga questions. Thank you so much for raising all your concerns. At kapag may makikita po tayong questions later, we'll try to address that in some of our next convergence. And po, kinikater lang po natin lahat ng mga related concerns based on our discussions. Once again, maraming salamat sa ating top management, our SDS, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto, sa ating dalawang Assistant Schools Division Superintendents, Dr. Jerry Boquinquito and Dr. Raymond Salvador, sa ating dalawang facilitators, Sir Tony and Sir EM, sa ating member ng TWG, we have Ma'am Inda, Ma'am Alili Grace Lingating, and our dito po sa ating production room, Sir
Lindon.
si Sir Lindon Oracion and Sir John Ray Flores, of course managed by our ITO, Sir Chester Bayukot. Sa lahat ng ating mga participants, let's now listen to the parting words from our EPS in SGOD, Sir Ton.
Okay, so thank you so much, Brian. No, so in behalf of our SGOD chief, Dr. Ernesto Tardo and our officials from the top management, we are thanking everyone for joining with us in this very special orientation in relation to the things that needs to be prepared for the opening of classes for the school year 2022 and 2023. So as made mention by our schools division superintendent during her message, that if ever along the way we may encounter some issues, some questions no, in relevant to the preparation of the coming school year, our office is open for addressing your concerns, no, so that the opening of classes of school year 2022-2023 will be done smoothly. So just feel free to get in touch with us, and we are very much open and with open heart, with a glad. We are very much glad to address your concerns. So thank you so much once again for joining with us in this very important convergence. Mabuhay tayong lahat and mabuhay ang Zamboanga del Sur Division.
Thank you so much, Sir Ton. Yun po, inuulit lamang natin, if your concerns are governance related, please visit the office of our SGOD Chief. Nandito naman po parati si Sir Tony to address that. And if it is curriculum related, kindly visit the office of our Curriculum Instruction Division Chief, Dr. Magallanes. And then kapag ito po ay any other related concerns with education, open naman po ang ating top management to address that one. So maraming salamat for joining us in our very, very productive convergence about the school calendar and activities for the school year 2022-2023. Sinabi nga po, any investment related to education always pays the best interest. Kaya sama-sama po nating isulong ang edukalidad ng ating bansa. Mabuhay ang Zamboanga Division, mabuhay po tayong lahat. Good morning.
Sure,